Welcome into Snow The Goalie Radio here on WBCB. We are live on YouTube, Facebook, X, everywhere you get your podcasts, whether it's live or after the fact. Hello, welcome in. Anthony SanFilippo is here. Bundy is here. I have returned from a European extravaganza. And the last time, I believe, I spoke to you guys and we were on air together, the Philadelphia Eagles were preparing for a playoff matchup. The Sixers were on fire. The Phillies looked like they were going to get Bo Bichette. And the Flyers were very strongly in a playoff spot. So let me just ask by starting with a very simple question. What happened?
Yeah, this is what happens when you go away, Russ. Don't ever go away again.
Okay. You never thought you'd say that.
No, I don't mean from the show. You can go away from the show all you want. Intern Andrew filled in and did a great job.
Yes, he did.
So that's totally fine. I just mean don't leave the country again because that ruined the karma of Philadelphia sports.
It was bad.
It was not a good 10, 12 days, however long you were gone. That's for darn sure. Right, Bundy?
It was a rough road for you, Russ. Unfortunately, it was rougher for us because we had to sit here and absorb it. And I'm glad you had a great trip.
It was.
But you know what? You learn quick, though. I mean, it's amazing in the standings. I mean, you lose 5 or 6 in a row, you're out of it.
Yeah.
Unless you have the cushion at the top of the conference. And it's amazing because, 2 weeks ago, you're thinking to yourself, wow, Flyers are in good shape here. Even the loss against Toronto, which started off this whole kind of cave-in by the team, was not a bad loss. Like they had a 1-0 lead to late. Lawton scores on that really nice shot that beat Vladar up high, and they win it in overtime. You can lose a game like that, and you've still played pretty well, but it was after that the wheels just came off against Tampa, then Buffalo, then Pittsburgh, and then the Rangers. And they were getting blown out every game, but it just shows you really quickly, how you can just get locked down in the standings and find your way out of the playoffs that easily if you're one of the teams battling for that 8 spot.
And it also shows, I guess, what a massive difference it is to have a number one goaltender in Dan Vladar and the cascading effect of him being out. It certainly seems has been felt in a major way.
Yeah. I mean, it wasn't just him. Let's just be honest, right? I mean, it wasn't just Sam Ersson or Kolosov, who you had more saves in Europe than he had here in the United States. So like that, it wasn't just those guys, but when they struggle like they were struggling, I think, like you said, the cascading effect, it impacted how everybody else was playing.
Yeah.
And they were getting completely out of their structure. And we talked about that after the Rangers game, just defensively. It's something that they had been so good at all year long. You take away the fact that you're like, oh, well, they don't have a good power player, or they don't have a top center, or any of that stuff, right? Take all that out of the mix. The one thing that the Flyers had done very well all year was play well in their own end.
Yep.
That was just disappeared, like with the snap of a fingers. And you're like, how does that happen?
Yeah.
How does that just go away?
Yeah.
It has to be related to the goaltending, right?
Yeah, it's funny. Last night was one of those games where you watched it against Utah. And you saw so many things in that hockey game when you really break it down in your own terms and see what the game's all about. The Flyers were so dominant in the first period. And then they turned into an East Coast Hockey League team at times in the second period. And then the third period, they looked like they didn't even belong on the ice. And that's what's weird about this team. Because usually when you come out with a good first period like that, a lot of that carries through the rest of the game. Because everybody feels like they're on the ball. Guys feel good in the first period. It was great. 14-7 shot advantage, 2-0 on the score. And for some reason, I don't know what happens, but they go into a cocoon and they don't even look like the same team that showed themselves 10 minutes earlier.
The crazy thing about last night, and this is like the blessing and the curse. I told Bundy before we came online, when I was gone, I didn't turn on the TV a single time.
Yeah.
I was totally offline for 11 days. I checked in every once in a while to see how the team was playing on the whole, but I wasn't living and dying with it like we usually are. Last night's game was so concerning on so many levels. But Ant, I read what you wrote today.
Yeah.
And you have a game last night that is not only winnable, but is almost can't losable. And they figured out a way to lose. And it wasn't as if it was, Matvei Mishkov, had a play that he didn't, work hard enough on or whatever crap we've been hearing all season. It wasn't that. It wasn't. There's a rookie that was in there. It wasn't Grunstrom, he's still learning the way of the league. Oh, it's not Grabenkin, who I guess has been banished to Siberia again. He didn't make a mistake. It's 2 of your biggest leaders, 2 of your highest paid players, 2 guys who've represented their team on the international stage. It's a Travis Konechny blunder. It's a Travis Sanheim blunder.
A couple Travis Sanheim blunders.
And
in all
you
honesty.
blew a game. You, instead of, snatching a game from the jaws of defeat, you handed it over.
Yeah.
And the Mammoth, whatever Mammoth eat, I don't know. What did Mammoth eat? Did they eat meat? Did they eat plants? Whatever it was.
Saber-toothed tigers. I don't know. What was
the Flyers served it up on a platter.
What was around when woolly mammoths were around? And it's funny, guys, because I thought we were going to be coming in here today, coming off of the way they were playing early in that game. And then even though Utah pushed back, got to 3-2, once they scored, Dvorak scored the second goal, and they went up 4-2, and then it's going into the early part of the third period, and Erisson's bend but not break. I'm like, okay, they're going to be fine. Like we're going to be talking about winning 2 games on the road against 2 decent teams, and sit there going, maybe they've stemmed this tide. I don't expect them to win tomorrow in Colorado, but even if you come away from the trip with 4 points, right, against those 3 teams, you're happy with that, right? And you sit there and go, okay, all right, maybe they've kind of figured something out. So I think that's why losing that game felt like 2 losses. Right? It felt like you lost 2 games. Yeah. And you got a point. It's like not only that they lost in the regular, they still got a point in the game, and it still felt like they lost 2 games. Yeah. Because of how it ended. And it starts with, and I don't want, it's like not like I want to blame this guy, but it starts with Noah Juleson reacting to getting a little shot across the chops. Yeah. And he gets the extra roughing penalty, and then there's the fight. And that gives Utah a power play that they shouldn't have even had. Right?
Yeah, that was a freebie. And, it's always hard to criticize a guy for dropping the gloves because it takes a lot to do that.
Correct.
Right? So you don't ever want to critique him. Excuse me. I think the one thing, though, that's time, place, and score, knowing exactly what the situation is on the ice. Yeah. He probably figured out when we get into a fight, they're not going to call it instigator, but they did. And that just can't happen. That's where the kind of the wheels started to come off. And I know he meant nothing by it either. He just wanted to have a fight, provide some energy, stick up for a teammate. But it really backfired in a bad way yesterday.
Yeah, and so they get the power play. And since I'm just going through like the individual little things that all added up to the loss. Excuse me.
Gosh, what's happening to you guys tonight?
I don't know.
Something's in the air. Did you inhale the
It was something that I inhaled. It was just the inhaling. That's all it was. So then the power play happens, and there's a shot that's coming through, and Sanheim doesn't try and get in front of it. Yeah. Like, that's one, you have to try and block that shot, right, Bundy?
If you can. A lot of times they don't want you blocking it, but I think that one there, that's one you can block.
You can block. Yeah. And he didn't, right? And so that ends up becoming the 3rd goal. Now it's a 1-goal game with 7 minutes to go. So now you're under pressure.
Correct.
All of a sudden.
All the momentum is going the home team's way.
And you're starting to feel it a little bit, and then the Hathaway play happens. Where, to me, and you tell me what you think, Bundy, I think in this play, because of how much he has struggled to put up any kind of production this year, that rather than take the shot when he first gets the puck, somewhere in his head, and it's a half of a second thought, is let me take an extra stride or 2 so I can make sure that this goes into the net and I don't miss the net. And that's what hurts him, right?
That's exactly. He overthought it, and he didn't keep his feet moving.
Right.
Which was the worst part. That's one of those blunders that'll never go away. Like, that's there for life on video and tape. I still remember the Patrick Steffen.
Yeah.
His miss. But that was, there's nothing like, and I know, last night apparently he was still dressed in his hockey gear after the game. He was still sitting in his stall. And again, someone said, what does a coach say to something like that? There's nothing you can say.
No, he knows he screwed up.
He knows it, and everybody knows it. You just move on from it.
Yeah,
but that cost the game. That was the game. They go up by 2 goals in the empty net, and that's the end of the hockey game.
So
I got to tell you, though, it's a sweet thing, and it's, really a nice visual. He's still sitting in his stall with his – I don't care. He stinks. Just call it what it is. He stinks. He's had a terrible season, and if this is a meritocracy – correct me if I'm wrong, but talk it, just like Tortorella before him, it would talk about how you earn your minutes, you earn this, you earn that. That is a blunder that was part of a 7 losses in 8 games streak. You have to know the moment. You have to have some kind of confidence. His confidence is shattered very clearly. But that is a play that if a Nikita Grabenkin makes, if a Carl Grundstrom makes, They're not in the lineup the next game.
Now, so here's where I will tell you to pump the brakes on that. So the reason he's on the ice even in that moment is because he's a decent defensive forward, right? And so your job in a 4-3 game is to make sure the other team doesn't score the tying goal.
How'd that work out?
Well, he wasn't on the ice when they scored the tying goal.
And he had the opportunity.
He had the opportunity to ice the game.
An empty
yes.
net.
Okay,
you can put the puck in the empty net.
Yes, I get that, and it's a bad. But what I'm saying is, are you going to punish a guy whose job is to be a defensive player for not doing something offensive?
And he's played much better since his scratching. He has played pretty well. Like he's gotten some energy. He's had a couple fights. He's got some big hits. I mean, unfortunately, he's going to be remembered for the missed empty net last night.
Right. And so that in that vein, I don't think that you sit there and say it's a meritocracy. You punish the guy. It's a blunder and a half. I'm not trying to defend the blunder, but I don't think you suddenly put a guy and say you're sitting up in the rafters because you didn't do that. Because the job that you were supposed to do, that we're putting you out onto the ice for, was you did. You were doing that, right? So that's the reason why. It'd be different if he went out there and got caught flat-footed, a guy skates around him, and he gives up the tying goal scored because of. Then I could sit there and say, Russ, you got a point, right? Why is he even on the ice if he can't do the job that he's being asked to do? So I think at that point you would have an argument.
I would make once again the broader argument here, which has been my point this entire season. I don't need to see Garnet Hathaway. I don't. I think that once again this is a conflict between what is ultimately best for the long term of the Philadelphia Flyers and what's best for trying to get points right now. And when you're in the midst of this really poor stretch, I understand that veteran coaches like to go back to veteran players. I would make the argument that I'm not sure that Hathaway should have been in the lineup last night.
Well, but my argument back.
Who else are you going to put in?
That's my argument back.
Gurbankin.
No, he was in last night. Gurbankin.
He
played last night. He didn't play the night before. He played. Grunstrom was out last night.
Grunstrom was out last night.
Okay.
If you're going to take trips, make sure you do your information study.
No, but I mean, seriously, and look, I'm with you.
Why couldn't Gurbankin play in that moment, though?
Because he's not as good defensively.
Okay.
That's really it. I mean, it's really what it comes down to, right? And I'm mostly with you. Like, I don't necessarily think that you need to have a Garnet Hathaway on your team.
Yeah.
All right. But when you look at what you have in your system, when it comes to responsible fourth line players, who, again, fourth lines are needed in the NHL, and they need to take shifts. They need to play 10, 12 minutes a night. Like, those guys have to be, when they go on the ice, have to be responsible players. If you don't have someone in the American Hockey League that can be that role on a consistent basis, then you're better off going with the veteran guy. See what I'm saying? Like, because you're not putting someone there who you think we're developing that player to be a higher up the lineup guy.
Yeah, but like, shouldn't you have a guy at the Phantoms right now that you could theoretically plug and play and have be a guy who can play, play fourth line minutes?
Here's a perfect example.
And be somewhat defensively responsible.
Here's a perfect example last night. So Rodrigo Abels has that horrible injury which you missed.
Terrible. No, I saw that.
You probably saw the replay.
That
right?
was
terrible.
That's sad.
Right? It's sad.
That's a really sad.
That's a sad injury.
Too bad,
He's been a good dude. That's a shame.
And so they call up Lane Peterson, right?
Yeah.
Who's got some experience in the NHL. It's not like this guy's first time ever coming up in the NHL. He's got some experience. And he makes a bad turnover that leads to the first goal of the game for Utah. So there's your answer. Like, you sit there and say, well, don't they have somebody in the Phantoms? Well, they called a guy up who they felt like would be the next man up to fill a fourth line role.
Yeah. And
he makes a bad turnover that leads to a goal earlier in the game. Nobody's talking about that because it's not the big moment, right? It's not the big moment of the game.
Yeah.
But it happened.
Would you compare it to the Orion Kerkering moment?
I compared Hathaway's thing to Kerkering in the sense that there were so many other reasons why the team lost. Yes, that's the thing everybody's going to remember. Mm-hmm. But to sit there and say the only reason they lost is because Garnet Hathaway didn't put it in the net is a little bit hyperbolic, because they still have, even after he misses, right, Bundy, they still have time to stop the Utah for another minute. You play defense for another minute, doesn't ever get to overtime. And that's where Travis Sanheim really doesn't do a good job along the wall there against Keller.
I almost guarantee you, after I saw the Hathaway play, I had Kurt Signetti eyes. Like, immediately. Yeah. I'm staring, like, going, no. And inside, I've been around enough hockey to know that they were going to score after that.
Yeah.
I just knew it. I'm like, this is going to go back in our net.
Yeah.
And it did.
But it wasn't a good play by Sanheim.
Terrible. But you know what? What happens is he got one muffed to him by Konechny, right?
Right.
Yep.
It wasn't a flat pass. The other thing you see that was missing right there, if that's a right defenseman, there's no problem.
Right.
He's a left defenseman on the right side.
Correct.
If you have a right shot defenseman, he's able to corral it easier and chip it right back off the boards
Right.
to get it back out of the zone. But he wasn't able to corral it. Then he got flat-footed while trying to play it on his backhand.
Yep.
And that's how Keller got the burst of speed around Sanheim and made the play to the front of the net. Also need to see Urson more aggressive in that spot. I mean, he's got to come out and challenge that shooter a little bit more instead of giving him the
look. And
he's so deep in his net.
As I told a lot of people today, I've been killing Sam Urson for 2 months. Like I feel like if I keep killing Sam Urson, it's dogpiling on the rabbit.
Right.
Right. It's like I'm beating that dead horse. We all know that he's not a good goalie, and you're right. That's a spot where you say a goalie can save his teammate by making a save there, and he did it. Of course, I'm with you. I'm with everybody on that. And then in overtime, look, it's not like it's one of those turnovers that Konechny makes that drives you crazy because he's like making a blind pass right to another guy. But here's my complaint about the play in overtime. We all know 3-on-3 overtime is all about puck possession.
Yep.
Right? It's all about possession. And the only time you should ever not be thinking puck possession is if you're making a play to score, to try and score a goal. Okay? That puck is on the wall.
Yep.
He cannot, under any circumstances, get pickpocketed, especially as easily as he was pickpocketed.
Yeah.
Right. That's the dilemma for me. It's like you've got to use your body, protect the puck, whatever, throw it back to your defenseman. Even if you take it out of the zone, that's okay. Hold on to the puck. You can't just let a guy come in and just steal.
No, you got to protect that with your body.
Yeah.
Get your body in the way
Yeah.
so the guy can't strip the puck. But, I mean, he just took it from him, went down the ice, and that's how they resulted in the game-winning goal by Keller. So, yeah, I mean, there was a lot of things that went wrong.
Right. So it was one thing after another after another. So it's easy to pick on the goalies, and I get it. But there were several mistakes, and every mistake that was made was by a veteran player.
And therein lies the problem.
Let me say that. So every mistake that was made in the pressure points of the game was a veteran player. Early in the game, like we said, you had Peterson's turnover. Emil Andre had that one turnover on the second goal.
Yeah.
Right. He's obviously not a veteran player. That leads to a goal too. So like there were mistakes made by non-veteran guys, but the ones that matter the most are the ones that are in those higher pressure situations, higher leverage situations, and those guys, that's where they came up small. And that's why Rick Tocchet was so mad after the game. When you see him talking about what happened, he doesn't want to talk about the Hathaway play. Like he knows it's a brutal mistake, but that's not the one that bothers him. The one that bothers him, the ones that bother him are plays that are being made by guys who are considered leaders on this team, who should know how to handle this in this situation and don't. And that's what bothers him.
Bundy, did the Tippett play at the end of the game on the game-winning goal? You know, he makes it back up the ice, so it's not like he didn't recover it all. But like we always talk about the fact, oh my God, look how fast he is. He certainly wasn't going full speed to get down and help in the defensive zone. And then ultimately, he doesn't separate the player from the puck. He doesn't really become even an obstruction to prevent a pass from coming across on that game-winning goal. Is there any frustration from Tocchet seeing how that final play played out?
It ended up being a 2-on-2, essentially, and the Flyers defense muffed that up. Was that York and Sanheim on the ice? It was, yeah. So, yeah, and again,
Tippett's the one who came back.
It was Tippett with the guy.
Tippett's the one who allowed the shot.
It was Konechny, Tippett, and
York.
Yeah.
I mean, Tippett did get back down the ice, so I'm not going to make it sound like he, was just loafing or whatever. But
you got to try to discourage that pass if you can. But then York's got to play Keller better than that, because all he did was go from the far outside and cut right into the middle of the ice. Just made a simple pass. He turned and snapped it. There's got to be better stick on puck in that situation.
And I think now is a good time to remind people where we're at.
Oh, you want me to do this?
Would you like me to do it?
Yeah, go ahead.
We're here at Chickies and Pete's.
You do it.
And let me tell you, there's no place I'd rather be on a Thursday night. Usually a Wednesday night, but tonight a Thursday night than Chickies and Pete's. Of course, we're here at the location in Northeast Philly, Roosevelt Boulevard. We've recently been Warrington last week. You guys had Oliver Bonk and Carson Bjarnason on the show. More than 17 locations in this greater Philadelphia area, including at the Philadelphia airport. Did you know that?
Yes.
There is. I sat at the one.
We don't do a show at the Philadelphia Airport.
I sat at the you know what? I sat at the one in Terminal B, I believe it was,
and I was multiples.
And I sat there and I was watching the Bills and Jaguars game. And I'll tell you what, it was a lot of fun. Great place to go out and watch a game. You want to go watch an Eagles game? Well, you have to wait till next year. You want to watch a Flyers game? Maybe a Sixers game? You want to watch anything else? You come on out to Chickies and Pete's. You can get in on the action with an appetizer. Maybe you want to get some mussels. Maybe you want to do the Bundy, get some cold shrimp. Perhaps you want to get a bowl of clam chowder. You want to order the best burger in the biz. What's the one that you got for a while? The barbecue burger?
The barbecue burger, yep.
I like to get the grilled chicken sandwich. Of course, you can't go wrong with the crab cake sandwich.
Yep.
And you have to get crab fries. Let's be honest. If you're coming out to Chickies and Pete's, you have to get crab fries. If you don't, I don't know if it counts.
So basically, on our perch here, you can't see it because of how the setup is here in Northeast Philly. But intern Andrew's actually here today.
Yes, he is. Stick taps.
Stick taps for intern Andrew. He's sitting over there eating his crab fries while he's doing the work. So.
And he has no microphone over there.
No
so
microphone.
We don't have to listen to him. We have to listen to him chew as he's
I know.
getting through those crab fries. He's happy. He doesn't get the crab fries up in press row. Oh, look there. Did he just add himself?
Look at
oh my God. That's press row all over again. It's over. It's over for us. Who let him here? Who let him in the building?
That's fantastic. That's fantastic.
But anyway, come on out to Chickies and Pete's. Like we said, every Wednesday we are here doing Snow the Goalie Radio here on WBCB as well as on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. Come on out, join us, and don't forget, make sure you try the Bundy. You could try the 12 shrimp, the clam chowder, and the pizza.
Yeah, I eat usually half that thin crust pizza.
How much of it did you eat? I feel like you
just
ate
a half.
It was only half?
There's still half on
usually
the
a half.
And then we'll finish the show, and he can go finish that pizza.
No, bring it home with me or finish it off somewhere, yeah.
So come out to any of the locations in your area, and, of course, we have more shows going this season.
So next week we're closest to you, Russ.
We're in
Malvern.
In Malvern.
Because the Phantoms are bringing somebody else down.
Really?
That was the deal. Yeah, they wanted to do 2 different episodes to promote some games that are upcoming on their schedule.
Do we know who's coming?
Not yet. A lot will be dictated by, if the Flyers need to make any moves. With the roster up and down. So we'll have a better idea as we get closer.
Is that Wednesday night?
That's Wednesday night. Yeah.
Heck yeah, buddy.
If you can't be there, you can't be there.
I'm not going to be able to get out of that when the Flyers play early that night. So I have to do pregame radio.
That's fine. Russ and I will handle
my
it.
backyard.
We'll be fine.
We're gonna have fun.
We'll do good.
We're gonna have a good night.
We'll do good out there in Malvern. Yeah, it'll be a good one. So looking forward to that one. And
big thank you to Chickies and Pete's for having us out here as always.
Yeah, as always. We'll announce Monday night at Press Row Show. Who's coming on the show on Wednesday?
Love it.
Yeah,
love it. Yeah. All right. Now I don't like going back to back, but I almost wonder if we have to try with the sponsored moments because, usually around this point in the show, we pick a payroll service solutions player of the week. Good luck.
Well, I mean, I don't think it's that hard this week. I originally had somebody prior to last night.
Yeah. That
I thought was going to be an easy win. And then last night happened and it's like, I can't go there. So
I was going to pick Garnett Hathaway.
No, it was going to. I would have gone Konechny. But let's get into let me do the lead into it. Once again, it's time for the Payroll Service Solutions Flyer of the Week, brought to you as always by Payroll Service Solutions. Call them today 1-866-PAY-EASY. That's 1-866-PAY-EASY. I thought Konechny would have been an easy play. He had been starting to put some points up, even though they were not winning games. He was still putting up some points. He had the 2 big breakaway goals in the win over Vegas. And I thought, and they were both, it was smart because he learned from the first one. He shot the other one, complete opposite side of the net, threw Aiden Hill off. It was really, really good game. Then he had an assist in the game last night. Or did they take that one away?
No, I thought he had 2 assists last night.
He had 1. I think that the second one, the first one, they took away from him because I guess it hit off of Dvorak. So I think Dvorak ended up with a 3-point game, and Konechny only had 1. Anyway, point was, until he had that turnover in overtime, I cannot, in good conscience, give Travis Konechny the Player of the Week because of that mistake.
I'd also argue that Konechny had something to do with the Sanheim blunder, where he couldn't. He had the puck at the blue line, right? All he has to do, poke it through, probably eats up 10 to 15 seconds. Instead, it goes the other way, and, well, everything falls apart.
So I'm going to go with Christian Dvorak. 3-point game against Utah.
Mhm.
It's been a at least solid defensively. He does his job. So he's my guy for this week's player of the week. I mean, coming off the 2-goal game last night, I think it's the easy choice.
I'm actually going to go with Konechny.
He
had a signature game against Vegas. He scored both goals unassisted. The Flyers won because of his efforts in that game, and he's picked up. I think he's got 24 points in his last 24 games played.
Yeah.
So I thought he had a pretty productive week last week when the team wasn't doing a whole lot. He also scored against the Rangers in the game before that. He's been putting up points, and I thought he actually played well. I'm going to erase last night from him. He still had a nice assist to Dvorak on that goal, and I'm going to let the end of the game slide because he's put in a very productive player for this team in the last little while.
Well, since I haven't been as plugged in, I think it's a pretty easy choice on my part. The fans who have stuck by this team over the past 8 games
are the players of the week.
You are the players of the week.
That's classic Russ. Now we got to break the tie. So why don't you break the tie? That was a nice effort by you. Well, you're gonna have to break the tie here, so that I can finish the read.
Or I could pick another player, and then it's a 3-way tie, and it doesn't get broken. Period.
Well, then I'll make intern Andrew break the tie.
Just let the intern break the tie.
Intern goes Konechny.
He backs Konechny.
The intern. I think it's fair. I mean, I only docked him because of the play last night, right?
If this had been a regular Wednesday night show, Konechny would have undoubtedly.
He would have gotten it if it was a regular Wednesday show. That's for sure. There's no doubt about it. So Travis Konechny, congratulations. You are the Flyers Payroll Service Solutions Flyers Player of the Week, brought to you once again by Payroll Service Solutions. Call them today, 1-866-PAY-EASY, for the smart choice in payroll services. Payroll Service Solutions caters to the small and medium-sized business to handle all of your payroll needs. Call them once again, 1-866-PAY-EASY.
I brought up the 1 week. They always say that they're great with small to medium-sized businesses. I said, what happens if it's a big business? Can they also handle a big business? Do they just break it up into smaller segments? Because I'm sure they could. Speaking of business, while the Flyers have been on this skid, and I've been keeping up through social media, which is the worst place to keep up with a team, it seems like the local people and national pundits alike are kind of mixing together this rough stretch with, boy, if this is what this team is, and if this is what this team is without Dan Vladar, and without him playing way better than he's ever played in his career, was the Dvorak signing a mistake? I mean, was that a bad bit of business? Because if this is what this team really is, if it's kind of what that team looked like in the final year of John Tortorella, well, they're certainly not close to being a Stanley Cup contender. They might not even really be that close to being a very good playoff team should they have waited for the deadline or closer to the deadline to see exactly where they were before making that deal. I think at the time we all said, hey, it's an okay deal given that there's no free agents on the horizon and the price on centers is going to be high. But if this team is like this, Bundy, if this really is it, right?
Yeah.
Is there a case to be made that they should have maybe waited a little bit longer and considered moving?
Well, I think if you can't predict what happened after the signing, but certainly I think it would have changed Danny's view after coming out of this losing 7 out of 8. I think would have been a little bit more eye-opening. I do all in all, I know people have been down on the deal or criticizing it. I actually don't mind it for a guy like that because I think the number's fine, what he's making, and I just think maybe the term is too long, but they do have a way out of it if they do want to get out of it. And I think it's a matter of them being able to to have a guy that they wanted, that they valued, that can play up and down your lineup. And we'll see what they're able to do with it. They're not getting out of it now, so they made their own bed.
Yeah, I'll comment on it just 1 second.
What?
I'm asking you to put the number up on the screen.
Oh,
because there's people in the comments saying,
there's
people in the comments saying, can we call in tonight?
I misunderstood. I thought he was saying that there was a call, and I tried to do a very, deft,
I got you.
private chat.
It's all right.
Here,
and, we're out of sync. You've been going for too long. It's all good. Here's what I'll tell you, and I understand why you say maybe you should have waited. They weren't going to trade Christian Dvorak unless Christian Dvorak didn't want to sign here.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's the thing, and the reason is that you just don't. Their centers are just non-existent, right? So it's better to hold on to a center for now,
okay,
and then go forward with it. Like it just is. You trade that away and you get a draft pick. And I get it. Like everybody's saying, well, you could have gotten a first-round draft pick for Christian Dvorak. And you maybe could have gotten one. I don't know if you would have, because he would have been an unrestricted free agent at the end of the year, whereas Lawton had an extra year left. And I think that's what created the ability to get a one. But let's just say, for the argument's sake, that the fans are right, that they would have gotten a first-round pick for Christian Dvorak. Now, all of a sudden, you're looking at a late first-round pick that is a player that, are you getting a center there? You don't know, whatever. That's not going to play for you for another 4 years. And you've now created yet another hole on your roster, right? You just have. You've created another hole on the roster because you don't have a set centers ready to come onto the roster in 2026-27. He's on your roster now for 26-27. And it's not like you're you're not blocking anybody from coming in. If in fact one of the guys like a Nesbitt or a Luchenko, impresses over the summer and they get better, and you think, okay, one of these guys could potentially be up at some point next season, and you say, well, there's no room for them. What you do at that point is you can move one of these guys to the wing, right? Both Cates and Dvorak can slide out to the wing. You know that they are willing to trade wingers for capital, right? We know that the Flyers are willing to trade wingers, so you could then do that. And second, and finally, the final point is, and we've already talked about this, so I don't want to drag it on. It's, even though it's a 5-year deal, it's really only a 3-year deal. It's really only a 3-year deal. They can move on from Christian Dvorak after 3 years in this deal. It's not a long-term, big money commitment.
Yeah, as long as he doesn't fall off like Hathaway, sure.
No, that contract could be moved. In 2 years, when you're looking at a $5 million contract for a player.
I'm saying as long as he doesn't have a precipitous fall off.
But you're talking about bottom 6 guys, maybe even fourth line guys making $5 million a year in a couple of years.
Possible.
Yeah, I mean it's what it is. It's the way the cap's working. So it's really only a 3-year deal. It's not like it's like if we're looking at Owen Tippett's contract, for example, or Sean Couturier's contract, for example, which are a little bit more prohibitive.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Those are a little bit more prohibitive. Although I don't think Tippett's is as bad as you do. It is more prohibitive than Dvorak's, I'll admit that. Like, that's different. That's a different conversation. You're really not hurting yourself by holding on to Dvorak. I mean, and I know that fans will argue, well, if you got that first-round pick, which is, again, I said was speculative because
they would have gotten a first-round Dvorak.
For a rental?
Yeah.
For a third-line rental center?
I think that if he had still been on pace for a career high, and if there weren't many other centers made available,
I don't know.
Weirder, stupider things have happened in this league.
Maybe, but even if you did, fans say, well, then you could take 2 of those trick picks and trade up.
Depending on where your pick ends up, there's truth to that.
Not necessarily.
But it's not going to be like if you end up with pick 18 and then you get pick number 25, nobody's going to trade into that. Right. That won't get you to the top 10.
How high are you going?
Sure.
Right? So that's the thing.
But if you're at like pick 10, like say the bottom falls off a little bit, and there's a team at 8 or something like that, and the next
you might be able to go up 2 spots.
You might be able to and get the guy that you want. Yeah,
maybe 2 spots. But I mean, even you're not getting into that top 5. Is what I'm trying to say to you.
So the only way to do that is, well, we don't need to talk about it.
So anyway, that's the thing. That's the answer to that question there, Russell.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think it's not the worst thing in the world. I know people made it out to be like it is, but you're getting a guy at a pretty decent number that can play up and down your lineup, and he's a center iceman. Yeah. And Anthony's right. There's just not a lot of centers out there. Yeah, you can find guys through a trade. I mean, I know Robert Thomas might be available in St. Louis.
Can I tell you why the Flyers will not get Robert Thomas?
Go ahead.
I'll tell you why not. You know who they asked for? What they would ask for?
Forster? Martone?
Everybody was going to want Martone.
But this is it. It's going to cost you Martone. It's going to cost you an NHL forward, and it's going to cost you Toronto's first-round draft pick.
So it's going to cost you about half of what Quinn Hughes would have.
Maybe more than half.
Yeah.
A little bit more than half.
That's about half. So, the idea of, but anyway, that's still a lot. That's a lot.
I mean, he's a good player, but he's not
that.
Not worth all that.
No, he's not worth that.
No.
Right.
No.
So,
no. I've been told that we have a call.
Yes.
Coming in, and I believe it is none other than friend of the program, Allison.
Oh, checking in from Texas.
Right.
Allison, are you there? Can you
Hi, guys.
Hi, Allison.
Hi. I'm just calling with the fan prediction score update.
Oh, very
Let's
cool.
get into it.
Very cool.
Bring a little bit of brightness to this hellscape that we have created in the Flyers
Who's doing
world.
best? And let me guess. Is your daughter at the top of the standings?
She's tied for second.
Wow.
She's tied for second.
Good for Mads.
There's 160 people who have at one time or another sent in scores. There's about 6 people that have sent in scores for every single game so far.
Wow, that's
And
commitment.
in first place, it's Chris Freed with 32 points.
Chris Freed's
Chris
over there.
Freed!
He's actually here, so I don't know. Is that rigged? We don't know.
He's actually sitting here, Allison. Did you know this?
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Good. Yeah, he's in first place with 32, and Brad from Twitter and my daughter Madeline are tied for second with 31.
Wow.
And Alex Town is in third with 30 points.
Wow. Very good.
Those are the top 3.
Very good.
Yeah.
Yeah, Russ has to update our standings.
I sure do. I'm very far
He's
behind.
a little bit behind. So
I should hand that off to the intern at this point.
I can't tell you where we're at.
I think I have fallen significantly behind the pack now.
So, you got to win last night. You pulled one out the last second last night, But cool.
Thank you, Allison.
Allison, you're the
you
best.
guys try to stay warm this weekend?
Yeah, it's going to be pretty cold and snowy.
Yeah, I'll tell you, it's going to be an adventure.
Yeah.
It's going to be an adventure getting down to that arena on Monday night.
It's supposed to snow Monday too.
Into Monday.
That
Into
game's
Monday.
not happening.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, they'll play.
Houston is
They'll
supposed
play.
to.
As long as the Islanders get in.
Houston's supposed to have a hard freeze, so everybody's freaking out down here.
Yeah, I mean that could be the power grid going down again.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's supposed to get down to like 19 degrees on
Wow.
Sunday night. So
Wow.
yeah. But
Well, stay safe out there,
I'll
Allison.
let you
Stay
guys
safe
go,
in the South.
Get back to talking Flyers, and I'll talk to you guys soon.
Thanks,
All right,
Allison.
Take care.
None other than Allison.
Yeah.
Does Yo Woman's work for us on the predictions?
160 people she's tracking.
Good for her.
Think about that for
Yeah.
a second. Like, that's craziness.
That's really good. Appreciate her doing that.
Hey, Bundy, a name that's been coming up. I feel like this guy's name has come up for 2-3 years in a row now as being a potential. Do you do a change of scenery swap? Is Shane Wright?
Yeah.
And I'm not sold on it, but given the fact that this team really doesn't have centers, is it worth a look in your mind if it doesn't cost that much? Like if it's a 1-for-1 swap, is there a hockey trade to be made for Shane Wright?
Yeah, I would say so. I would say, yeah. I mean, if you can get a guy that you think needs a change of scenery for someone else, they want a top 6 forward in Seattle.
Yeah.
I mean, there's moves you can make. I mean, but it's going to cost you though. Again, if you want something, you got to pay for it.
Yeah.
That's the bottom line. Because everybody, it's not like one guy becomes available and the only team interested in him is the Flyers.
Correct.
There's other teams that are in this league too that want other players too. So
Shane Wright this season, for the record, 7 goals, 10 assists, 17 points in 49 games. Would not call him an impact player or a difference maker. The flip side, I guess, only 22. I mean, it feels like he's been in the league forever, but
yeah,
only 22 years old.
I will tell you just from talking to some people within the organization that their scouts have not been impressed with him at all.
Okay.
And they don't necessarily think that there's a good fit there.
So send that thought out to pasture.
but if you get the right price and 2 guys are looking for a change of scenery, that would be the move you could make. Yeah. If that's what you wanted to do.
Yeah, I mean, if you were doing one change of scenery for another change of scenery, sure, you could take a chance on that.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're not going to give up anything of any valuable capital.
If the Flyers
For
had
that
known that this season was going to go the way that it was, and that center was going to be such a position of need, do you think that going back to last offseason, they would have given the idea of going after Marco Rossi a little bit more of a thought? It didn't feel like they really seriously considered it this offseason, but was that a missed opportunity?
No, I don't think. I mean, I wouldn't say that they didn't consider it. I'm sure that I'm almost certain that Briere talked to Bill Guerin a lot. I mean, the Flyers in Minnesota talked about a lot of possibilities and just kind of never came to fruition, whether it was Minnesota valuing their players too highly or the Flyers valuing their players too highly. And those conversations go back and forth all the time. I just don't think that there ever got to anything where either side would have been comfortable. And so it just didn't come to pass. And look, they moved him for Quinn Hughes, right? I mean, so when you think about how Guerin handled it, like, I'm only moving this guy if it improves our team. Well, that improved their team. So that's why he moved him that way.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how he held on to Rossi in that regard. So, No, I don't think that they would have done anything different. I really don't. I look at the way Briere went into the last offseason. The only thing you could have potentially said is maybe do you say some of those, you drafted all those players in like the second round and third round, like whatever. Like maybe do you move some of those picks and get something else like in return? I don't know. That would be the only thing you sit there and go, maybe that's something they could have done. But I think that he would have gone into the offseason, the way he went into the offseason was the right one, considering where he was at and what was out there and what was available. And it's worked out. Everybody he's brought in has been a contributor for them in a positive way. So it has worked out. Look, everybody's going to be caught up in the moments, right? Like when they're playing really well and you're sitting there and like, oh, well, maybe this team's better than I thought it was. And then they play poorly. It's like, see, they suck. And it's just, I would say take the time, look around the league, find 6-7 game stretches for every team that are similar. I did that for a reason, Russ. I knew you were going to do it. But you could find 6-7 game stretches where teams go 1-5-1, whatever it is. And every team this year has gone through it. The Colorado Avalanche, who we thought were immune to this, are going through it right now.
They're in a rough patch right now.
Right, they're going through it right now. And I've been touting saying this is the best team I've seen in several years, and they're going through it right now. Right, they lost to an Anaheim team who's been terrible lately. Right.
Well, they've won 4 and 5 in a row now.
I know,
but they did. They still have. They've come around.
Yeah, they played defense last night, which I couldn't believe because they play no defense. Right? Yeah. And they beat Colorado in Colorado, right? So like there's going to be ebbs and flows, especially in a season where the schedule is incredibly condensed as it is this year. Like it's just there's going to be stretches that are just tougher on the body and tougher on the mind. It's not trying to come up with an excuse for the way the Flyers have played. I don't think that they deserve an excuse for the way that they played. But I do say that it's not uncommon this season to find teams hit ruts, and because they don't have a lot of practice time, it's going to take a little bit longer to get out of it.
The problem is the Flyers, and you look at the standings where they were. It amazes me that they could lose the 6 out of 7 games and they fall right out of the playoffs. I thought they had a little better cushion than that, because usually when you're in, it's hard to fall out once you're in the playoffs to lose the points. But it's incredible how quick they did lose momentum in the Eastern Conference standing race.
Yeah, everybody's making it sound like they're in last place and they're dead out of it. Let's be honest; they're only 3 points out of a playoff spot with a game in hand.
Right.
It's not like they fell; they absolutely fell. And you look at the Colorado game, and we're all probably chalking that up as a loss already. And so you think, well, that 3 is going to fall. You could fall a little bit further, but it's not like they fell into dead last or they're 9 points out or anything like that. It was bad timing. But it's not out of the question for them to rebound and get right back.
No, not at all.
Right,
but it's hard. It's hard because everybody's going everything.
Yeah.
See, last night that extra point would have been great because everybody that the Flyers are vying against lost last night.
Yeah.
Washington lost.
Yeah.
Who was the other one? There was
the other one that won was Pittsburgh, right?
Pittsburgh won last night.
That was the only one that won. Yeah. So like that Islanders game on Monday is a big one. That's a big game for the Flyers.
The Islanders lost to Seattle last night.
It's huge,
right?
And Vancouver beat Washington.
Yeah. So hey, it's certainly possible. It's certainly a redeemable thing. You can't let it continue. You can't let it linger. You can't have another stretch like that the rest of the season, obviously. But it's certainly recoverable.
The problem is that we're not saying the quiet part out loud, and this is why people are so frustrated, right? And you can make the argument that people are just impatient and all that lovely stuff. If you redacted the names of the players that we're talking about on the show tonight, took a transcript of the show, replaced the name of the coach, wiped out the names of the players, we're having the same conversation we had 7 years ago. Same one. The best players on the team don't seem to be the guys who could be the top players on the team. The team still is lacking a 1D, a 1C, and a future netminder. And
but there's
a very
difference,
consistent theme across multiple regimes.
But there's a difference, though. That team 7 years ago was trying to tread water. This team actually has some young players that they're excited about coming forward, and that you look at what the future looks like, and you sit there and go, okay, there's some talent there. Whereas
I think
that group back then didn't have that. Russ.
Yeah, well, I mean, but if you do look at it back then, right? Like, go back to the team that had Giroux and Voracek and Simmons. You could easily point toward a Konechny and say there's some hope there. Not elite talent, but you'd say there's some hope there. You would look at a Sanheim and say that dude might actually be a top pair defenseman at some point. You had an Ivan Provorov, who at that point you were saying, yo, you know what? This guy looks like he could play top pair minutes.
He was the guy that
now,
I was the most wrong about.
He
was
did
Provorov.
not. I think a lot of us were. But you could have looked at that and said, at the very worst, you had a guy who projected to be a top 6 forward in Konechny, a top pair defenseman in Provorov, and probably a number 2, a second pair defenseman in Travis Sanheim. If you zoom out and you look at it right now, I'm not so sure that they're in a better place, because what, like, on balance here is the forward group right now. Their top vets are the top vets on the veteran or on the forward lines, right? Are they better than the Giroux, Voracek, Simmons team? I'm not so sure that they are. Like, I'm not sure that these guys have another level to reach. And I was skeptical of Giroux as like a lot of things, but like he did have another gear to get to. I don't think
7 years ago Simmons was on the backside. So I mean, if you're talking
still
about
a productive forward,
but if you're talking about Wayne Simmons 2012, is a different player than Wayne Simmons 2019.
Yeah, he broke down.
He did,
right?
Yeah.
So yeah. I mean, are the guys there now better than that version of Wayne Simmons? Yes, I agree. You don't have a Giroux. That's the one that you don't have. But I think
I would even say Voracek. Like I was also critical of Voracek.
Yeah,
I'm not sure that they have a Voracek right now. Like,
well, I mean, is Zegras better than Voracek?
No.
Production wise?
Voracek had like 93 points one year.
No, but 7 years ago.
Oh, I don't know what 7 years ago, but I was coming to the end of Voracek's career.
That's what we're talking about. 7 years ago.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like I'd take Trevor Zegras today over Jake Voracek right before you shipped them out. No, I would.
I'm just doing one of these. The point is,
but then you also have the kids that are coming, right? You have a lot of youth. Well, you see, here's where I go nuts with you, Russ.
It's a but.
Here's where I go nuts with you. We go into the draft, right? Yep. And you are Mr. Draft going into the draft. You're all excited about the players.
Yep.
Let's go get this guy. Go get that guy. Go get and whatever. We do this whole thing. We do a big draft show, and we talk about all the players that they're drafting, and we bring people in and discuss them. And then when it comes time to say, well, hey, they have all these young players, you go, meh. Like, how can you have one take 6 months ago and then today be like, meh?
Well, because you take a look at where they are at, and you take a look at when it's draft night. You got caught up in the excitement of draft night.
Oh, so you mean people get caught up in the excitement, or is it possible then they get caught up in the negativity too?
Teams also make stupid picks. Jetlachenko was a stupid pick. I look forward to 5 years from now when we're still talking about, will Jetlachenko make the NHL out of camp? You know, like that's one that you kind of go, that one hurts. I want to Porter Martone. I think Porter Martone is the most excited I've been about a player that is not playing at the NHL level after being drafted.
You were more excited about Mishkov.
Mishkov is playing in the KHL. So I'm saying, like,
well, he wasn't in the NHL.
No, but okay. Semantics, yes. He wasn't playing in the NHL. He was playing in the KHL. He was playing in a professional league. Was very excited about him. Martone is the most exciting player not playing professional hockey right now. I think he is the most exciting prospect they've had in a long time. Who else am I excited about? I think Carson Bjarnason might end up developing into being a good goalie. Is he going to be a number one? I have no idea. Oliver Bonk. There's all the hope in the world. I have no idea.
Player of the week.
Yeah.
Bundy.
Ever since he came on the show last week.
Yeah. Got some good advice.
Was he the AHL player of the week or the Phantoms player of the week?
AHL.
AHL
player of the week.
Yep.
Got some good advice from a former NHL defenseman last week. And see what happens. He
turned his career around.
You know, you want to say Alex Bump. Maybe he ends up being a higher value player than where they drafted him at. Like, that would be cool, you know?
Sure.
Denver Barkeys look like a good player.
He has.
But it's not the elite talent. That is the frustration. The elite talent is not necessarily in the pipeline. Those guys that are able to take their game to a whole other level.
And this is where I'll disagree with you again. When you talk about elite talent, it's never in your pipeline. Elite talent is here. even coming out of the draft. If you draft an elite player, they're on your roster. There's no elite talent in the your pipeline is usually good players, right? Good young players who are coming. Every once in a while, one of them pops and becomes an all-star, superstar. Sure, I'm not saying that it doesn't happen. But when you are drafting elite talent, they're on your team right away. They're not developing with the Phantoms or developing in the Swedish league or in junior
And
high.
you had something last week about Barkey going down. Is that changed at all?
So
he was kind of lost last night in that game again.
So I wouldn't be surprised if he ultimately does go back down. So I know that they were considering it. And then, I said that they were considering it, and then they made him a healthy scratch.
Yeah.
And I think that they wanted to give him one game after that to see how he responded. And he
Responded
responded really, really well.
Yeah.
He played a great game against Pittsburgh, right? It was the Pittsburgh game. He played great against the Pittsburgh game. And so they've kept him in the lineup, but he saw his time diminish again yesterday. Tocchet really shortened the bench in the third period. I think there's a possibility of that. We'll see how he plays against Colorado, or if he plays against Colorado, we'll get a good sense of that. I do think there's a chance that he does go back down. But every time that you've questioned why are they going to Denver Barkey, and then he comes up and he proves you wrong.
Right.
And he hits a wall. Well, he's probably going to go back down. You sit him out of game. He comes back in the lineup. He proves you wrong again.
Yeah.
So he's got that in him a little bit.
Yeah.
That he could, I'm going to show you. And that's great. That's a great trait to have. So we will see. But it might get to a point where if they don't feel comfortable playing him more than so many shifts, they'd rather him play in the AHL and playing big minutes. Right?
Yeah, agreed. Yeah. Agreed. Be interesting to see tomorrow night if they make a change at defense for the game. Hunter McDonald's the option, right?
Well, he's there right now.
He's there, but I wonder if they insert him into the game tomorrow night.
You inserting Hunter McDonald's NHL career, first game of his NHL career against that team?
Why not? Why the hell not?
It's possible. I mean, I guess it's possible. Who are you taking out then? Are you taking Andre out?
Andre or Juleson?
Yeah. I mean, Juleson, though, at least has played against that team before.
Yeah.
Right? He knows a little bit about them and how they play. Part of me would say that if you are going to put Hunter McDonald in, maybe you take Andre out.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's a guy, and we talked about this, and maybe I'll ask you about it here, Bundy. We talked about this on the Press Row show. He's a guy that just seems to have, I'm not saying he's been terrible, but he's been underwhelming.
Yeah, he has. He's gotten, when he came up here, remember how good he was playing?
Yeah.
And he earned his spot to stay up here.
Yeah.
And from that time, it's been a gradual decline.
Slow. It's like a slow decline.
Slow decline from where he was at the top to where he is now. He's not authoritative with the puck. His defending is not as good as it was. There's a lot of things, and I don't know if they kind of have to kind of corral that again and find a way to get his confidence back. But he's not been the same player that came up and after 3 weeks made the team and beginning of the year, because he did get sent to the minors.
Right.
Then they called him up and then he earned his spot back. So, but he's not been that player of late.
Yeah. I'm curious to see.
I've been mulling something over here.
Okay. I was going to say, I'll let you mull for one more second. And I know Bundy and I talked about this too. I wonder if Danny changes his mind after this trip and decides he needs to do something at backup goalie. Because I know last week he was a little bit more reluctant.
I saw Danny at the Rangers game last week.
Right.
I went to get a Coke at the second period. It was 6-1, I think.
Yeah.
And we happened to cross paths and run into him. And I just asked him, I said, is there anything you can do? He goes, nope. He goes, they just got to figure it out. Meaning the team and the goalies.
Yeah.
And, and I thought that was kind of telling because it was. And they did figure it out Monday night. They did, but they weren't able to do it last night.
Yeah. I wonder if after this week he sees where they're at and he changes his mind.
What can you get, though? That's the problem.
Well, I mean, it depends. I mean, there's only a couple teams that you can really...
Given the parity in the league, it seems very unlikely somebody's going to move any goalie of
any kind of substance.
Of any kind of value. There's almost part of me, honestly, that also makes has the thought go through head that Vladar played like a number one, and it's great. He's already played more games than he's ever played in a season.
Yeah.
And I don't want to believe that the injury that he had is just like a wear and tear thing and that it's going to be indicative of what's to come. But man, if it is, right? Like this is part of why in the offseason we're like, hey, I don't know, is that a good enough signing? Does that raise your ceiling enough? I almost wonder if this team is going to just kind of play the waiting game because they know that the best case is to probably try to get a number one or somebody who can fill in that spot as a number one. But nobody right now is going to trade you a number one goalie.
Not a number one.
No,
and I don't mean like
Talking about
I don't mean like a top 10 or top 15 number one. I just mean like a passable starting goalie in the league. I just don't see it. I don't know why you would move assets to try to get somebody.
I'm not saying you're going to move assets. Other than
What do you think it would take to get
it depends if you're trading
decent
for
backup?
if you're trading for a decent AHL goalie to come in and kind of replace Sam Ersson, 5th round pick, 4th round pick.
The Flyers will not touch Bjarnason this year.
Yeah, he's not.
Danny told me that too. He says he's gonna. We want to let him keep playing down there, let him build his confidence. He's not coming up under any circumstance.
Yeah, unless it's an absolute emergency.
It would take that injury like that they had a few years ago. Where
100%.
So the thing that I've been trying to mull over here is a little bit ago we were talking about elite talent a little bit ago, and you said that if you get elite talent, they're playing at this level.
Yes.
Right. So I started thinking to myself, where does elite talent come from? And how easy is it to acquire elite talent? Because teams don't trade number one defensemen. It's
not easy.
They don't trade number one centers.
We've been through this a million times.
If only there were a place.
It's not easy. All right. But Jack Eichel wasn't available until he was. Quinn Hughes wasn't available until he was. Players like that, you don't think that they're available until they are. Like they become. So when those players become available, you have to be able to pounce.
You know why it's easy to think of those though? Because it's an anomaly.
No, it's not an anomaly. It's not.
A number one center and a number one defenseman do not get traded every year.
It's not an anomaly. It happens more than you think, Russ.
Okay.
It happens more than you think. You just have to be willing to part with the assets when the time comes. And the only reason they weren't willing to do it, we've been over this with Quinn Hughes, is because he could walk away. You did not have an extended contract.
That is correct.
That was the reason why.
So, okay. Yeah. The path to a number one defenseman. Hope that there's a guy who doesn't like where he's at and is going to geographically want to move somewhere else. It's possible.
Got Elias Pettersson is maybe out there on the market now, too.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah, that's another guy.
I'm sure he would love to play for Rick Tocchet.
Yeah,
I'm sure,
right.
Boy, good thing that was a swell situation out in Vancouver with those two together.
Yeah, we should talk about that next time. I know our time's up here in a minute, but I had heard something interesting that they were last year trying to get Pettersson.
Yeah. You know why? Because there was a time he was a 100-point player.
No, but I'm saying I think when that whole thing was going down with whether they were going to trade Pettersson or JT Miller,
right?
Who knew where? Whatever. That the Flyers were actually pretty
interested in
Pettersson
because he looked like a number one center who had previously had a 100-point season.
But how's he looked since?
I mean,
he's been terrible.
Early in the season, he's not a little bit better. Not great lately.
Last night he had a great game checking. That's what I read today on Twitter. He was unbelievable defensively last night against Washington.
It's good.
It's good. But that's a variety of good that you don't want to get from a guy. He's good to have a good guy who's good defensively, but you want that 102 points back again.
Yeah.
No.
Will he ever get there? We don't know.
Who knows?
I'm pretty sure it will not be in Philadelphia. But I am sure of one thing. We will be back on Monday with the Press Row Show.
Yes.
Yep.
Down at the Xfinity Mobile Arena. And next week, we'll be at Chickies and Pizza in
Malvern, Pennsylvania.
On Wednesday night. So
Wednesday night with a Phantoms guest.
Do us a favor. Let us know what you agreed with. What do you disagree with? You can drop it in the comments. You can, of course, tweet at us. Bundy's on Twitter at CTerrian6. Ant is on Twitter at AntSanFilly. I'm on Twitter at JoyOnBroad. Thank you for listening. Maybe even watching Snow the Goalie on YouTube, Facebook, and X. Get us wherever you get your podcasts. For all these guys, we'll be back. Talk to you very soon here on Snow the Goalie. Have a great night, everybody.